And may the Stanford curse forever be broken. Amen. Oh, I forgot my music. Oh my gosh. It's not church without the music. There we go. Listeners, fellow quack worshippers, members of the Chapel of Quack, of the Church of Quack. That's what I've landed on. It's cleaner. Members of the Church of Quack. It's a joyous day. This is actually the joyous organ music, too. It doesn't sound like it, but this is actually the stuff we play when we're ready to turn it up, when we're lit. Because I am. Even though there's plenty of things not to be lit about, as the Lord wrote. And we're going to get into that, because it's Sunday, y'all. Now, we were all nervous, right? We were all nervous because we all know how Oregon versus Stanford goes. Whoever's the better team, the worst team comes, and they ruin that season forever, and it's just a pit in the, in the stomachs of every fan for forever. And there's a lot more Duck fans than Stanford fans, so it's unfair, really. It's more unfair what they're doing to us when they upset us. I'm just going to say that because there's more Duck fans. But, I didn't really think that was going to happen. I was going for the reverse jinx thing where you're really playing it up. But I did that last year too, and look what happened. Just look what happened. This game, it was kind of boring, and I think we can all agree on that. Just because the amount of penalties, we'll get into them, but the amount of penalties, the amount of ref in general in this game, really freaking, sorry, I forgot this is Sunday, kind of killed the mood for a while, but at the same time, you have it in hand for almost the entirety of the game. Really, I loved it. It did make me, it almost put me to sleep, because also it was near midnight when this game ended. And hey, as this is witness to people who are watching this very late church stream here right now, y'all know sometimes that nightlife is the right life. Okay, let's get into it. I got my 12 Quack Commandments. Number 1, the cardinal seas parted. That is right, the cardinal seas parted, or maybe I should say the cardinal departed, because Bo Nix, in general, the Oregon run game, the Oregon rushing game, was just as dominant as you could be, just about. It felt like back in the day when Chip Kelly was over here and not, doing whatever he's doing in UCLA, upsetting the Huskies. I guess he was doing that here too, but anyways, we rushed like freaking crazy. 351 rushing yards. I think the thing that surprised a lot of us is 141 of those yards was from Bo Nix, which, a lot of people get the tag mobile QB sometimes, because it's kind of an easy thing to, like, a couple scrambling plays, then suddenly you're a mobile QB. Sometimes it's thrown on too easily. Tanner McKee, absolutely not a mobile QB. I mean, we saw that in this game, but in general, everyone knows he's actually a really good quarterback. But, he's not mobile. Bo Nix is mobile. We've seen it before. We've seen him, especially like against like Eastern Washington. He had some good little juke moves there. He's always willing to run. He did it against Georgia too. It's interesting to see him wearing that number 10 and seeing someone run, because we didn't see that for years after Herbert's injury. They didn't let him run as much. And he ran amok, man. It really was the thing that made it so this game was not going to be an upset. There was not going to be the craziness, CJ Verdell trying to kill the clock at the end of the game, and then suddenly we're in overtime, or Zach Ertz, what the hell, he's not even in the end zone, or the million other things, Yeah, it was none of those, because even when our offense was not going quite as well, mainly because of the penalties, Bo Nix was able to turn it on. Even on the drive where he got that 80-yard touchdown run, which is obviously his career high because earlier, I believe it was his like 34-yard or something like that yard run was his longest run in his career. And then so add that 80-yard one. So obviously this is his longest, his most rushing yards in a game for his career. Man, I wish we could convince Bo Nix to stay another year. It's not going to happen. I really don't think it is from what I've heard in interviews and stuff. I think it's like, no, this is so I can then really make my shot at the NFL, which power to him. But, man, I would love another year of him. I'd love every year with him the way he's playing right now. Yes. Now let's get into something a little less fun. Punished by penalties they shall be. And we were. It was writ. Yeah, penalties were freaking ridiculous. Like, truly historically bad. Say... There's been a lot of things, and you always do this with your head coach, with your new head coach. You compare him to the old one. It's a relationship like any other one, so you're going to compare, this person to that person or whatever. Oh, this person's so much better at that. Well, one thing, and we've been doing a lot of dissing of Cristobal, mainly dissing of Cristobal's offense, which is easy to do right now because look at Miami. They just lost to, gosh darn, Middle Tennessee. But one thing Cristobal did, and he did in real quick order, is he cleaned up our penalty problem, which was a problem we had at the end of the Helfrich era, went into the Taggart era as well, got a little bit worse at times in the Taggart era. Almost immediately, Cristobal comes in, and he cleans that up. As of right now, our new head coach has us averaging a Pac-12 worst 8.2 penalties for 72 yards per game. That blows. That is not good. And overall, in this game, 14 penalties. That's right. 14 penalties for 135 yards. 135 yards. It goes to show, with Ty Thompson in the game at one point and with all these penalties, and we still hung 45 points on him. The most points scored on him so far this season. I think that is very cool. That's very, that's good. In one way, our offense is been very efficient, but that's going to make it so you're going to lose against not just teams that are as talented or as good as you. You're going to lose against worse teams. We could lose against Arizona next week if we were to commit 14 dang penalties again. And a lot of these penalties, one thing that was interesting, some of the Duck offensive linemen have come out and they've said that Stanford was actually mimicking their cadence, which kind of threw them off. And so supposedly was maybe a couple of those false starts. Cam McCormick had one. Marcus Harper had one. Marcus Harper also had a holding. So this is like... we are replacing, like, what was once this, like, sure thing veteran offensive lineman. Marcus Harper has come in, and he's, made a few mistakes. But also, Amave Laulu, he had a holding on the fourth drive that we had. There's the illegal motion from Terrence Ferguson. There was the absolute BS horse collar. Am I right? Really, because I believe, if I'm trying to, there was 10. Yes. 10 of those penalties took place in the first half. And so I would be more willing to write it off if it weren't for the other games this season, which penalties have bitten us in the butt at really tough times. One of the penalties was like the fight, Seven McGee. How are you going to go just on Seven McGee? How is Seven McGee the one person who's going to get ejected in that two benches are jabbing at each other and then just Seven McGee? That almost made me laugh. I don't know what he did because he didn't show it on the replay. He must have done something, but these refs, maybe he did absolutely. Maybe he wasn't even out there. Maybe he was in the freaking locker room. The way these refs are doing it. And so, like, also with the RPO, obviously, we're seeing it's tough. Sometimes the lineman will be too far down, and then, boom, the whole place shot. we just got to hope that we get better at that. That one doesn't concern me as much as like the holding. Obviously, that's just a drive killer, momentum killer. The fighting was freaking weird. I don't even know what to say about that. A lot of the second half ones were strange. Again, that horse collar. Christian Gonzalez, he got that penalty in the second half too. But dude's playing so well. If he's got to eat one of those every once in a while, I'm fine with it. He's so good. He's such a sure thing. Oh, God bless Christian Gonzalez. I love him. Let's get in this next. That is mainly what Duck fans are actually talking about, right? Is the penalties. Because what else is there to say about this game? Like, it felt like a practice. It felt like a spring game. Because we could have really kept them. We almost kept them to like the lowest point total scored this season for them. We almost held them below that mark. We scored the most on them. I was looking for it. That was something that was keeping me awake at 11:30 p.m. So for us, it makes sense that Duck fans we're only focusing, maybe not hyper focusing, because 14 penalties is something that you got to be like, okay, Dan Lanning, this is an easy circle mistake that you can fix, and if you fix this, imagine how much better. That's a marked, that's not like trying to make a player faster, trying to make a player stronger, trying to make a player smarter, or trying to get units to gel. Here's an easier, I guess it is getting units to gel, but here is an easy, quote, easy, I don't know. But here is something that you can work on and actually get it done. That's what I'm hoping. Let's get into the next one. Less depressing. This is a win after all. Well, yeah. Raising 351 rushing yards for the Lord. That's right. We raised 351 rushing yards to go to every single church of Quack throughout these United States. Bo Nix led all the rushers, 141 yards, 6 carries, 2 touchdowns. Because, again, we keep a clean pocket, so he's not getting many negative yards, and for some reason those sacks count in college, whatever. But right behind him, Bucky Irving, my man Bucky. Of course, Bucky, because Bucky's the best. That's why. Bucky, 10 carries, 97 yards, 9.7 average. I'm sure you could do that math. And just a really solid running back. I want to watch more of him, but I am starting to think, like, is this the best running back we've had? Travis Dye really did some amazing things here, especially last year when we were really relying on him. He did do a whole lot, but maybe best just pure running back since Royce Freeman, maybe? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to watch more. That's tall order. I love me some Rolls Royce, but yeah, Bucky Irving had a great game, 27-yard long there. Noah Whittington also. Noah Whittington got like the hard hitting award. He was like, usually, there are some running backs when you start to see the tackle about to happen, you're like, okay, like you're bracing yourself. Like when he was out there, you were bracing for the Stanford guy because he was coming out like a sledgehammer. There was especially that one. I don't remember the Stanford player's name, and that's probably credit to him. He doesn't need this embarrassment brought up, but he knocked him so hard, man. It felt like we didn't even need to throw the ball this whole dang game. I don't think they could have stopped that run. It seemed like it. And I know we were all very nervous that first drive where we were held for the field goal, and then I believe we had to punt, if I remember correctly, the second one. And it felt like, oh no, it's our red zone things again. But it became pretty aware that it's like, oh no, this Stanford offense, they ain't in it for the upset here. Sean Dollars got out there, got himself a touchdown. I know fans are dying for more dollars. They also want Cardwell. Cardwell will be out there, I'm sure, eventually. I don't think there's any. I think it's just healing and everyone's doing well and they're not trying to force anything. Jordan James also gets a touchdown. Hell yeah. I like it. Yes. More running, please. Let's get to number 4. The fourth Quack Man meant a turnover for a turnover. That is right. a turnover for a turnover, as of right now, into the season. 5-5. 5 turnovers each. Opponents have 5 turnovers. We have forced 5 turnovers, which is pretty good considering we started off this season 2 interceptions against Georgia, just right off the bat. Now, obviously, games against like Eastern Washington and even BYU's good, but that helps us out. They're not quite good, not quite great, anyways. I don't know with against Stanford. I mean, yeah, because what was Ty Thompson? That is right, because we went 1-1 in this game. Ty Thompson threw that pick. We'll get into him in a bit. But otherwise, again, Tanner McKee, listen to Hitler Day talks about this guy too. Tanner McKee is a good quarterback, and I wish him the best. And he may be someone who, like, some NFL team gets him, like, late undrafted, and he rises up as a practice squad dude. And it's like, yeah, no, this dude's fucking good. This dude's clearly good, I do think he is good. He went 19 of 33 for 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's right. It was the fumble. That was their turnover, which was fun to watch. Noah Sewell just a head full of steam. I thought he was going to bring it in. That would have been great. I thought he was going to bring it in. And then I believe Bennett Williams is the one who forced that with just that heads-up play. He had a great game. Williams had a great game, and I know he is a fan favorite too. Like, we got some good players in the secondary. Overall, this defensive performance, I think, obviously, in the second half, when some more of our twos are out there, things did get a little sloppier. But I felt pretty good about this game. I don't know. Whatever, except for the penalties. Number 5, first sack and the first punt return. Here marks, hey, but this late into the game, and we allowed our first punt return because otherwise, we were forcing, they were waving off fair catches, and or we weren't punting, we were scoring, or turning it over. But we don't need to talk about that. So this is the first punt return. It's a little bit arbitrary, but also it is a sign that the special teams are doing well. When they do need to go out there, they are forcing that. So I don't know. That's good, I guess. And then the first sack, that is obviously good. And the sack was even like, was that a sack, really? So I don't know. That's a good place to be, I feel. We were the only team, I think the only team in college football, not just FBS, in college football that had not given up a sack to that point, but we allowed one, I think, in the third quarter or so. So we got pretty far into it, too. So, hey, kudos. That's great. Praise him. Camden Lewis. I'm talking Camden Lewis. I just want to shout out the guy. Remember when we were talking about early in his career, oh boy, when can we find someone better than this guy? Or like just writing him off as like, the curse of the Oregon kicker or the college kicker. This guy's been consistent. We haven't asked him to go from deep. And I have a feeling if we did, if we're asking him for the 50-yard game winner, I'm not sure if that's working out. No, I mean, hey, maybe I need to have faith in Camden Lewis. Maybe that's what this whole thing is about, really, because, I don't know. He hit his field goal. I like him. He's cool. He's my friend. Don't talk crap about Camden Lewis. Let's just see if he can do it against Utah. Number 7, Quack Man meant gifts from above. And, of course, by that, I mean the passing game. Of course, it's the number 1 culprit, the guy we've been loving so much. Well, actually, that's right. Coda. Chase Coda was the man. I thought it was Troy Franklin, but he barely edged him out with 2 receptions for 56 yards, which included a 49-yard touchdown, in which I'm not sure if I'd have to rewatch the replay, but some people were saying that maybe he was looking up at the Jumbotron, the biggest screen in the world or whatever, and was actually just kind of like, what? Like, hey, that's me. Hey, I'm about to score a touchdown. Hey, that was easy. Yeah, I'm from Oregon. Yeah, I think we all love that guy. He's got real male energy, and by that I mean Maehl. I'm sure you all knew that. Really good possession receiver, but I mean, just also has got some moves. He's got some really good hands, and you always need a dude like that, and it's good to have him. Good to have him on the team. Returning home. He's an Oregonian. He always should have been here. Come on. Troy Franklin, 4 receptions, 52 yards, including a touchdown reception, and just being great, just catching dimes right when you need him. It's very nice to have sure hands, real talent, adding more talent in the future. Sean Dollars, 3 receptions for 17 yards. Terrence Ferguson, a little quieter, but hey, I mean, that's the nice thing, right? Is if you're focusing too much on our amazing pass-catching tight ends, which is something that you do have to focus on because they're a great, an elite threat, then, hey, we got Troy Franklin. We got pass-catching running backs. We got it all at Oregon. We got it all. Yes, that's some fun stuff. Number 8, Footloose. Footloose. Kick off your Sunday shoes. It's Sunday today. Of course, I say this because I didn't quite get the full story here. It sounds like so I know Dan Lanning told the team, I don't want you dancing during shout, between third and fourth quarter. I don't want you dancing. I want you to, this is a football game. And I'm not sure where the line is, whether it was, I'm not sure if he's been on the record with this even, per se. But where their line is this a temporary thing? Because the penalties are terrible? Because they, and a lot of these are easy things that, the easy ones that you can fix are the unsportsmanlike conducts. That's the easy ones. Hudson had it, Seven McGee, a couple of others, I'm sure. That horse collar one was BS again. But anyways, so I don't know. I think it's possible. It seems like he's doing it as more of a, you almost want it to be more of a punishment thing, so then in the future it's okay, now you can do it. Or is he just no, there's no dancing in football. Why are you dancing? We've got important things to talk about. That would be sad. I get it. That being said, I know Duck fans are bummed about that, but that being said, we can still dance, and we are the fan. We know we love that, and it only makes it that stretch where the players really were dancing, I think, truly led by Troy Dye. He's we could just have that lives in the Jumbotron, and then as long as the landing era goes, there's no dancing from the players, but it makes that era just a little more special, I'd be fine with it. If he doesn't want them to dance, it's fine. No dancing. Or maybe if special occasion, I don't know. We got to figure this out. It's clearly the most important thing. Number 9, Hellfire heating up. Now, what do I mean by Hellfire? Do I mean the place where Satan lives, pokes you with little trident, has a pokey tail, does all the medieval tortures on your butt? No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about defensive pressure, really. Not enough. It is heating up, but only because it was kind of cold for a while. We're doing a lot of great stuff on defense. This defense isn't necessarily built on the idea that you are pressuring the hell out of people at all times. There is, like any defense, you do want to get to the quarterback. You do want to surprise them, trick them, come at them from different angles. And a lot of times it's worked. Against Stanford, it worked pretty well because we got 3 sacks. Not bad. 3 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 5 passes defended. Why not? And 3 QB hurries. That's what you like to see. That feels like that is the missing ingredient, which, to be fair, the first half, we did have a missing ingredient because DJ Johnson wasn't there because of some BS penalty we got last week. Ah! Yeah, So DJ Johnson wasn't there for the first half. When he got in the second half, he made his presence known. And it was almost worse for them because he's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And you guys are already feeling defeated, you can tell. And I'm ready to roll, son. I've been stretching. So that was nice. Yeah, let's more of that, please. Ty Thompson tumult is what I'm trying to say. We don't really need a Ty Thompson talk because I think we know what we got in Ty Thompson right now. That's not to say that he's not going to be better in the future. It's not to say, but I mean, I think it's foolish to assume without any proof that any player is going to make a drastic improvement for basically no reason, And it was concerning, I think. His late game performance, because that's all we're gonna get. That's all we've gotten, for his career. He was 1 of 5 for 3 yards, 1 interception, 1 carry for 2 yards in this game. His career is 14 of 29, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 158 total yards. That is a lot of garbage time. But it is something where it's like his energy when he's out there, it does look like a spring game suddenly. It truly is transformed into a spring game where it's just a little more, I don't know, just not as like locked in, cutthroat. The passes aren't like getting there in time. I don't know. I'm just afraid, knock on wood, praise to whoever you want to praise. I'm just afraid that Bo Nix's going to get hurt. Even though the pocket's been clean, that's the nice thing. But he's a mobile QB. He's wearing number 10. It's happened before. But I'm afraid Bo Nix gets hurt. And if we do, I'm afraid Ty Thompson, I'm not saying Lockie is a bad guy or a bad quarterback per se. On the Oregon Duck level, he's a bad quarterback. I'm afraid that Ty Thompson would look similar to Lockie. Is that the nicest way to say all this stuff? I don't know. Is Butterfield really that bad? What's going on? Let's go to the next one. Number 11. 22 consecutive wins at Autzen Stadium. That's good. We want Clemson to lose at home because I know for a fact that they're the true leaders. I'm going to just look this up. This is very professional. Home Records College. This is really good podcasting, especially when you're solo, so no one else can chime in. Whatever. I definitely shouldn't have taken the time to look this up. Anyways, Clemson, we want you to lose. Listeners, if you know the answer, please let me know. Other than that, well, first of all, there's only one more Quack Man, and it's the same Quack Man that I end this thing on every day. That is right, my listeners, my loyal sheep and loyal flock. Go Ducks! Go Ducks! Go Ducks!